How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's having a pleasant day. Today, I wanted to take the time out and kind of do an overview and reflection of uh, the corn that I grew last year. I think a lot of people from my previous video were curious about all the different varieties I was growing. And I don't really talk about the corn that I grow that much. If you know me personally, you might argue that I'm obsessed with corn. I have a pet corn snake, and I named him Corn with a K after the new metal band from the 2000s. Uh, I definitely have a fascination with it. I think it's a very valuable grain. This past summer, I grew 3 different varieties of corn. The primary one being the Hopi blue corn, and the second one being Hickory King White. There is a yellow variety, but I thought it was interesting. A lot of people on these homestead channels tend to grow a variety or this variety of corn. And I kind of experimented with some golden bantam, like sweet corn at the end. I was just growing it for seed. Grew the whole pack and grew it in a very dense little square. And in this picture, as I mentioned earlier, this is the Hickory King White seed stock I was saving. There is some great growth on this. I can't believe it got this tall. It's almost touching the telephone wires, as you can see in this picture. I was really amazed. The ears on this corn were huge. I tried to use Scarlet Runner beans to climb up this for the Three Sisters method, but at that community garden plot, I think it's too close to some ag fields. There's a lot of soybean and corn crop rotation, and it just was getting tore up. The amount of bindweed and grass pressure, I was like, man, this soil needs some help. It's been tilled for way too long, way too often, and I think it just needs some organic matter in it, and it'll balance itself out. My Hopi blue corn plot usually does pretty good. I don't know what happened this year. The heat was crazy. I don't think that Hopi corn particularly enjoys being grown in a conventional method of linear rows. I think it definitely is adapted to grow in the traditional Hopi way. It needs to be grown in little patches because they really do need support. The stalks are not that thick, and they definitely rely on some support with high winds. It's something I'm going to try growing. I'm going to try to grow Hopi corn in a traditional method without watering them and see if I have any luck. I have plenty of seed stock with the blue corn, so I'm willing to experiment. Here's that Huitlacoche, or the corn smut. A lot of people think their corn is like infected with some alien or something growing a cyst out of their corn. But in reality, it's a fungus that's actually a delicacy, and people pay a decent amount of money for it in Mexico and other parts of the world. So definitely consider eating it if you are a risk taker and you are curious. It definitely is not bad, but make sure you get it fresh because the ants in my area will definitely tear it up. I've taken a bite and had beetles and stuff, so just make sure you clean it because there can be bugs in it. I have a short video of me eating the quesadillas from that, so I'll link that in the description. And here is the ear of the Hickory King White. It's giant. Usually the ones I grew for seed stock were pretty giant. I was actually surprised, and I understood why people are still growing this for their own personal feed. Some of these plants are supposed to produce like 2 or 3 ears. I definitely had some stalks produce 2 or 3 ears of corn, and I was shocked and amazed at how big these ears were and the efficiency. I question how much they would produce in comparison to some of these hybrid varieties or GMO varieties that the conventional farming here in the United States, they kind of prioritize that. And here is some of the Hopi blue corn that I grew. It's definitely a beautiful corn. I'm excited to make some tortillas out of it. I actually had some leftover corn that I bought from Azure Standard that I've been kind of trying to get through. I nixtamalized it all myself, and You can pop Hopi corn. I've done it once with a few small kernels, and people don't know that it tastes different. I swear it tastes different. It tastes less starchy or something. I don't know, but I love growing this corn. I definitely am going to always grow it. It's one of my favorites. And lastly, here is one of my better ears from the Golden Bantam 100 that I grew this past summer. It's such a beautiful corn. I took a bite of it raw, and it was very sweet. It had a little bit of earworm pressure, but that was largely because of the timing that I planted it. This was a super late crop. Planted it, I think, at the beginning of July, and I harvested around late September. And it just shocked me how quick it grew and how beautiful the ears were. Definitely consider growing it if you're interested in growing sweet corn and saving seeds. And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you all for watching. If you have any more questions or would like to see anything else that I grew, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comments. And consider subscribing if you're interested in any of the weird niches that I tend to take interest in.